Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have game number 2 of this best of 3, and spawning in the bottom right-hand position of Ohana, the Orc King himself, currently up 1 game with that Void Ray play on Daybreak. Can he make it 2-0? It is Grubby. And his opponent spawning in the top left position is the purple Zerg player representing Rockskiss. We have our Russian Zerg. Let's see if he can avenge Slivko, who is unable to attend this particular online tournament for hardware-related reasons. It is LiveZerg. So we had a fairly standard macro game for the first couple of minutes of Daybreak, and then Grubby decided to bust out the Stargate and go for 3 Void Ray play. Now he was able to take the center of the map, establish map control against LiveZerg, and using that, he went very quickly for his 3rd Nexus. LiveZerg, in response, went for a drop-style play against Grubby, but unfortunately, Grubby was able to completely shut that down when he tried to get the Overlords into the main base with the Void Rays. Just excellent positioning from Grubby, unfortunate for LiveZerg, and then he went to try and drop the 3rd, but Grubby was too quick. He had his army already positioned between the natural expansion and the 3rd base, and as a result of that, he was able to get his army in a fantastic position and take out the entire army of LiveZerg in game number 1. Now we have a fresh game, a fresh opportunity for LiveZerg to redeem himself and bring this best of 3 series to level pegging at 1-all. Let's see if he'll be able to do it. So far he's starting with his spawning pool first, nothing out of the ordinary, and he actually gets the natural expansion down without any harassment of the probe from Grubby whatsoever. In the meantime, Grubby is going to be going for a Nexus first. He doesn't even have the pile on the low ground just yet. He's going for the Nexus before that, and he's going to be okay here. Not any early aggression coming out from LiveZerg, so not too much of a problem for him there. And the pylon goes down now. He'll be following that up with a Forge shortly. And things appear to be looking fairly normal here. Now, in the meantime, guys, if you haven't seen the brackets for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Qualifier number 3 yet, that really is a great indication of how good the tournament, the PUBG is going to be. And it looks like Grubby actually opting for a gateway after the Nexus first, so this is not going to be a Forge opening. Oh, pardon me, it is, because it's in his main base. Of course, the gateway actually is on the low ground. My apologies there, my head was somewhere else. The Forge in the main base, for the same reason I was talking about on Daybreak, where when we have a smaller choke point here on Ohana compared to Daybreak, notice that Grubby puts the Forge in his main base. I'm so used to seeing Protoss' wall off with the Forge at the natural that it didn't occur to me, but of course, as I mentioned in the last game, Grubby likes putting his Forge inside his main base, and also, on Ohana, there's not much room over here for Overlords to move out. If you take a look at the bottom section of the map, and the top section here, a Stalker can kind of pick off the Overlords over here, and definitely pick anything off that comes in here. And that means that if Grubby is researching a +1 or something, or not researching anything at all, puts down a double Forge or wants to hide some tech, this is a really good position to do it on this map. And LiveZerg is going to spot, of course, that the Forge is behind the main mineral line. Of course, he knew that a Forge was out since the cannon was at the front anyway, but he won't know just yet what Grubby's tech path is going to be. So let's see if Grubby is able to keep that Forge hidden, maybe keep his tech hidden later on in the game. 3 hatches are now out for LiveZerg. And he's just going to be droning up quite heavily at this point. He's actually ahead in workers 36 to 31 at this point of the game. And Grubby is just going to be starting his first Stalker. And we have a robotics facility getting put down from him this time. Now, opting to use this space between the natural expansion and the main, because it is the maximum distance for an Overlord to travel to spot the tech. So really good positioning from Grubby on his maps. He really knows his SimCity very, very well. And he's not just randomly putting buildings down. He knows exactly what he's doing. And even though these gas timings are going to get spotted by the Overlord, LiveZerg will not know at this moment in time exactly what those gas timings are for. And this Stalker is doing a fantastic job of just making sure he knows where LiveZerg's Overlords are. So he knows that an Overlord is going to be scouting in from the top And as a result, he wants to try and protect the tech that's coming in from there. But the Overlord is actually going into the base just as the Stalker moves out. And that's because we have the Overlord here on the left-hand side trying to scout the robotics facility. But the one up north is likely going to be able to scout it. So LiveZerg coming in from both directions simultaneously here. And that is going to give him the scout that he needs. He can see the robotics facility now out. An Immortal popping out for Grubby as well. He won't know whether that's technically an Observer, but it is being chrono boosted out. So he's going to suspect that it could be an Immortal. And as a result, he needs to watch out for some sort of 2-base Immortal play coming out of Grubby now. LiveZerg was supply blocked by that, but 3 Overlords are about to complete, so it's not going to do an awful lot of damage. And we have got the layer now at the 7.5 minute mark. From LiveZerg, so he's going to be planting that down. Let's see what tech he ends up going with. Evolution Chamber and the Roach Barn out for him now as well. 4 Roaches on the way. Wants to make sure he has units to possibly catch an army from Grubby out in the middle of the map. Now, Grubby is attacking these destructible rocks, which suggests that maybe he's not going for an Immortal Sentry all-in off 2 base, because he might want to consider taking his 3rd, but the 2nd Immortal is now here as well. So he's adding a Twilight Council and 3 more gateways. So that's going to be very interesting. He might just be poising to take his 3rd. Maybe he wants to make it look like a Sentry Immortal all-in. He's even walling off the front of his base. So if a Zergling comes up here and sees, oh, hang on, there's another pylon here, he must be going for an all-in. I should really prepare for Sentry Immortal here. But Grubby's actually going to be using the opportunity to grab another Nexus. So for everyone else who was in the chat going, uh-oh, it looks like we have a little bit of Sentry Immortal action going on here. Not quite. Grubby's going up to 3 bases here, and we might see a later timing attack come out of him, but he is perfectly content to let the game go beyond 2 base for him, and he's feeling quite confident in his abilities to macro up and beat his opponent. Glee over Constitution and +1 being taken from LiveZerg now, and he's actually going up to a 4th base, which is really cool because he did actually just see the 3rd base going down for him as well. So that's a great piece of scouting information. Another Overseer coming in on the left-hand side as well to spot exactly what's going on. But that 3rd base is so critical for LiveZerg to scout, because now he knows that Grubby is probably not going to be going for a 2-base timing. I mean, he could technically cancel the 3rd Nexus, but that still takes time and resources to wear down the rocks instead of your army moving out across the middle of the map. And that's 100 minerals that could be a forward pylon or getting contributed towards the army as well. So that's unlikely to serve Grubby any good if he went to cancel that. So LiveZerg is going to assume, what great force fields, they're trapping a lot of those Zerglings. He's going to assume that the 3rd base is in fact being taken. These Lings going to try and do a bit of damage against the probe line, but unable to make anything count whatsoever. And the probes from Grubby get the final say as that Zergling gets wiped off the face of the earth. Really, really nicely done. Notice the workers kill tab currently shows 0 to 0, and all LiveZerg did was lose a whole bunch of Lings there. So really nice engagement from Grubby. Good use of the force fields, and he's not like he's conserving them to do some sort of all-in attack either, so it's no problem for him to use the energy at this point of the game. Now, +2 has been started for LiveZerg. He just moves up the top of the ramp and sees that actually this is completely walled off, so run-bys are going to be impossible for him. Grubby wants to be able to hold that off so that he can push with his army out from the 3rd. He only wants to have to defend at 1 location right now, so that he can push out with the army when he sees fit if he's going for a 3-base timing. However, that's giving LiveZerg the time to get up to his hive, to get up to Infestors. We can see the hive actually has started at around 11.5 minute mark. Pathogen glands is complete as well in just a couple of seconds. So we are looking to, in the near future, go up to that Broodlord Infestor style composition. The Spire is also started for LiveZerg now. And I still like that he's being very active with his units, destroying these destructible rocks, just to make sure that it's a little bit harder for Grubby to force field them out. Picking off a cannon there. Not going to be able to do too much, though, as Grubby's army is actually quite close. And these roaches need to be very careful. There are a few Blink Stalkers out here turning around and fighting very briefly. But, oh my goodness, great force fields coming out from Grubby. He just missed the slightest bit over there. Gets a couple of roaches almost. Possibly should have with that 1 extra force field. Maybe got a 3rd and 4th as well. But Grubby showing LiveZerg who is boss right now. And he is going to be feeling comfortable on 3 base. LiveZerg, though, on the other hand, read the situation quite well, and he went for quite an early 4th base himself. And he's getting some spine crawlers up to try and defend against any sort of harassment that Grubby is likely to do with this forward pylon. So I'm liking what LiveZerg is doing this game. He wasn't 3-base versus 3-base like he was on Day Raid. It looks like LiveZerg has decided now is a good time to engage. He has got an Infestor or 4, but they are nowhere close to the front of his army, and I can't help but feel that he actually threw away a bunch of those units for not very much gain there. He baited some force fields out of Grubby, but with a Colossi in this composition as well, just baiting force fields out of it is not going to be sufficient to actually wiping it off the map. So he needs to be very, very careful with how he chooses to engage this. A bunch of Lings now going to stream into the third base. Is this completely walled off? I think there's a small gap there. Yes, there is. And LiveZerg is going to be able to move out, but Grubby simultaneously is moving on to creep. Oh no, and the Lings get into the natural expansion as well. Grubby now having to move his probes away from both, and they're into the main base. This is an absolutely huge run by here from LiveZerg, and Zealots get warped into the main, but not at the natural, not at the third base. And as a result, these bases are basically going to get decimated. Grubby, in the meantime, trying to kill off this fourth base location. LiveZerg should not be trying to defend it. He should probably move his army over to his third or his natural and attempt to defend there while he continues to try and decimate the economy here. It looks like, is the third nexus going to go down? The natural manages to stay alive. Grubby now moving into the natural expansion, not wanting to waste time killing off the fourth base. And as a result, LiveZerg actually has his army pulled in a couple of different directions. That was a great force field from Grubby. Very difficult for LiveZerg to defend this now. Grubby does manage to get the third nexus, but another warp in his odds is going to clean this up. The natural survives, and LiveZerg is between a rock and a force field as it currently stands, and that is not a good position for a Zerg player to be in against a Protoss. He plummets to 66 supply. Yes, the main base is still technically alive, but what good is that when you send all your drones to the natural and it's still unable to do anything? GG, and Grubby takes the series 2-0.